The brand new French tier 9 light tank is here on World of Tanks console, so we're going to have a look at what this vehicle is like, should you buy it, and of course how you can take this thing out in the game, what sort of things you need to be thinking of when you see it in the game, and also if you do decide to play it, the sort of playstyle that this tank really should adopt. And of course straight away this tank looks really nice. This is the Fraternite, and I'm sure at a later date Wargaming will introduce this vehicle, but the unskinned version, which is just basically the typical French skin. Of course, this being a tank that is introduced in terms of Bastille Day, I believe, or at least in the lead up to Bastille Day, hence the French flag all over it as being the kind of camo. And unfortunately it doesn't actually act as camo, which is kind of annoying, but at the same time we do have the problem of being able to have to pay for this camo, and yeah, it does cost you about 20,000 or something like that, but it does give you a camo bonus, so you do want to be putting that on. That is the first thing that you should be doing with this vehicle. But we'll get onto the stats, because this is something that you can use if you're playing up against this thing, and the sort of things that you need to know. So straight away, there are two main options that you can use on this vehicle in terms of its guns, and they're two distinct ones as well, because although they look the same, they play slightly differently. And the first one that we have is essentially a 270 damage gun that has a 6-round autoloader. So it is a 6-shot autoloader with 270 damage, which means it can deal approximately somewhere in the region of about 1500 damage if you're looking at it from the perspective of being able to clip out an entire tank using all of those rounds. But this vehicle has a 3.5 second intraclip reload, so it has a fairly long reload for a tank that's only doing 270 damage per shot, and you also have a fairly long actual reload, so 26 seconds to fully reload the clip. Once you've dealt those 6 shots of damage or missed them or whatever happened, you know, you have 26 seconds to wait to reload where you're not doing anything. But the good thing about this tank is that the 6 shells allow you to be quite flexible with this thing, and they give you actually enough time to adapt your gameplay when you are using this 6-shot autoloader. Now, whether this is the gun that I would take all of the time is completely not necessarily true, but this is a more consistent approach to playing the Shah Emily, I think, but you know, there are some downsides to playing it, and we'll talk about those as we go on with the actual gameplay in a little bit. But 8 degrees of gun depression, absolutely fine. Like, this is very good for a light tank. You're able to really use a lot of positions. You're quite a low profile vehicle, so there's no real problems there. You've got 2,200 damage per minute, which for a tier 9 is not amazing, but it's not the worst. But remember, we are using it with a fully kitted out crew. We are basically using all of the possible perks that you can use, or skills, as well as the equipment to boost it up. We're using ventilation, we're also using rapid loading to increase the gun reload speed, we're using Born Leader as well. So yeah, I mean, it's not got the greatest in terms of its damage per minute, but you can really play this tank as a traditional light tank. You're going in for that spotting damage, you're using the speed of this vehicle, and that segues in to the next part. That is that the speed of this vehicle, there are 2 different modes, and it goes 60 kilometers an hour in the standard, it goes 75 kilometers an hour in the turbo mode. So it's the same as the Polish mediums in that, you know, you can activate it, you suddenly go faster. It's the same with the Teeth Breaker, the kind of mercenary Warhammer 40k collaboration vehicle at tier 9, the light tank. Same sort of thing, you have a speed boost and you reduce your accuracy and your aim time and stuff like that in order to get better speed, and then you can switch back. It's almost like the Swedish tank destroyers, where they have the siege mode and they have the normal mode. One's super fast but you can't hit anything, the other one's slow but is far more accurate and stuff like that. So it's the same with this tank, but of course I think it's time to look at the second gun, because we glossed over the fact that we had the 2, and although I say this gun is very good, the 270 Alpha, it's actually the 100mm SA47-75 that is probably the more interesting of the 2, and that is because this has 2 shots in a clip. But not just 2 shots, it's actually 2 bursts in a clip, and that means it does indeed actually fire 3 rounds in one go, in one clip potentially, and then you've got 3.5 seconds, and then you can burst out another 3 shots. Now this tank with this setup has only 600 damage, so it doesn't get 270 damage per shot. It in fact gets 200. You've got 3 lots of them, so you can deal 600. Then you wait 3.5 seconds and you have the potential to do another 600. And that means that dealing damage in this tank can be very good if you're up close and personal, but can be really annoying if you are on the move, or you're kind of going around a vehicle, if you're trying to out-traverse and you're at a medium range. If you're trying to auto-aim with this vehicle, it's not going to work out very well. The dispersion on this tank is not particularly very good, so in between that really short period of time when you're bursting out the damage, the tank's gun will bloom out and it will suddenly become really, really frustrating to play. And remember, it has a 2.5 second aiming time, so it's super slow, and when you do fire that initial round in the burst, you know, you're going to have the best accuracy, and then as it goes on, the accuracy gets much worse, so you end up usually not being able to clip out and tank. But that's where this tank becomes an assassin, where you need to be really close to an opponent to make it work 100% and be able to do the 1200 damage. And the worst thing is that this tank gets 1400 damage per minute, so with this setup, so really bad DPM in terms of being able to perform with this kind of 6 shell or 6 mini shells, but 2 clips. It's kind of just one of those things where it feels like you are kind of capped in terms of your performance in the game, because of the fact that you can only deal 1200 damage. It takes 33 seconds to reload with this vehicle, but remember, you do kind of gain an extra amount of time on the standard one, which is the 6-round autoloader, because you don't have to wait 3.5 seconds to burst out. Like, you don't have to wait 3.5 seconds 5 times. You only have to do it once with this vehicle to be able to unload all your shells. So although the reload time is kind of sacrificed in terms of its actual time, you can actually use this very well to reposition. And even though the DPM of this tank is very bad, it can still work really nicely. And I actually prefer using this gun over the standard kind of 6-round autoloader. But for the majority of people, I think the 6-round autoloader is going to be the better performing of the two, and it's really nice that Wargaming actually gave us the option. I wish they would do this more with a lot of the other tanks that are in the game, where you have 2 competitive options. You know, they are both good in their own right, but it gives you the option to choose, and this is something that I really do like from Wargaming. I really appreciate it. Even if it is unfortunately on a premium tank. It would be nice to see some of this sort of stuff getting added to some of the older tech tree vehicles that, you know, we've seen for a long time. Kind of change up the meta, see what they do, and see how the other older tanks that maybe aren't as good right now could perform with some different setups that Wargaming provide us with. And it allows for more customization, and more customization is always the most fun, because you can make your own build. You feel like you're kind of choosing the right kind of modules for your tank, etc. So maybe that'd be an interesting feature, and maybe that'll be a question that I can ask Wargaming, is to whether or not they could do an overhaul as to the module system that we have. I don't know if that would ever come about, but maybe I'll table it to them and give them some ideas, which could be interesting, or just see their opinion on it. But either way, we're then running it with advanced optics, we're running with it advanced concealment, we're also running it with improved ventilation, and that is because I knew that this is not going to be a damage dealer. I know it's not going to be a damage dealer. This tank is not going to be doing 10k damage anytime soon. I mean, granted, it could potentially, but it's probably not. And actually, with the small gun, you can't do 10k damage. Even if you hit every single shell and you fired them all, you've got 48 rounds and they do 200 damage per shell, meaning that you got 9,600 potential damage that you could get in a game. So you can't do it with this one. You can do it with the 6-shot autoloader, but I mean, you'd have to hit pretty much all of them. But either way, we are running it with the spotting setup. I want to be able to get spotting damage. I want to be able to compete with the other light tanks in the game. And I want to be able to go in and deal the damage as well. So there are potential other options. I would 100% not disagree with you for taking gun stabilizer if you're after a more kind of damage build or being able to be a little bit more consistent. It's definitely something you can do. I would not necessarily you know, say that you shouldn't be doing it. And in fact, if I was going to swap out one thing, maybe I'd actually swap out ventilation to get the gun stabilizer. There's also the potential to use traction system if you want to make it a kind of just YOLO vehicle where you can just go in and deal a ton of damage. This is going to be amazing for doing that. Since it does have a ridiculous turbo speed and it can only get better with the speed boost equipment, where you could probably get up to about 90 kilometers an hour if you're using both pieces of speed boost equipment, which I'm sure we'll do at a later date. But right now we're showing you the more competitive build. But let's actually get into the game because you guys have seen it. We are running full premium, unfortunately. I apologise, it's just because the penetration on this tank is not very good on either of the guns. So yeah, I mean, 240 penetration with premium rounds, it's not very good up against the tier 10 heavy tanks. Albeit, you know, the 6-round autoloader has much better penetration, but, you know, it's a little bit lackluster when you're only hitting for 270, and the fact that you're having to sit there and aim for quite a while to actually get the damage can be a little bit daunting as well. But let's jump into the game, let's see how this tank plays, and I'll give my overall opinion at the end of it. So let's start off with the little burst fire gun so that we get an idea of what this tank is capable of. This is an actual really good game actually to show off what this tank can do. It's a slow start, so I guess that gives us time to give you an idea of how you can play it, and then we'll show how you can play it as the game develops and the sort of things you want to be thinking of. Now straight away on Malinovka, we are not going to be going in, we're not going to be trying to pressure early on because remember this tank doesn't have great DPM, so if you try and go in at the beginning of a game you are going to find yourself very much out of depth. If even just one tank decides to YOLO you, it feels horrible because you are going to be getting penned, you are going to be out traded almost certainly, and it can be a bit of a problem. So we're going to play passively at the beginning, and you can see the aim time here, awful aim time with this vehicle, but it's all about using this tank and knowing when to go in, which is what is going to make this tank amazing for some of the players in the game. So you're seeing here, I am just literally sitting in the bushes. Now, people will pre-fire this place, or at least blind fire. Now, on console, it's not so much of a thing. On PC, if you know or play it, you'll probably know that this is a bush that constantly gets blind fired throughout the game. But at this point, we are very stealthy. We know about where the opponents are going to be, so we're just going to sit here. Now, I do swap to the actual mode to actually get into the firing mode, and you can see there 2 rounds out of the 3 hit, so you can see how quickly this thing fires. Now with the actual shells themselves, you can't limit how many you're firing in the little salvo, so as soon as you press fire all of them are going out whether you like it or not, and you can actually micro adjust your aim so that they do start changing direction if a tank is moving. Now I've not mastered it 100% yet, it does take a bit of getting used to, and if you are playing this tank or any of the similar tanks that have this, then yeah, you know it does take a little bit to kind of understand how to use it. Now I do think about going for the T49, but if I miss any of those shells, I get spotted, I could get penned by something sat at the back, you know, it's a bit risky, but you know, so far I'm playing very passively. This is what you want to do at the early game, just so that you have your health in the late game, so that you can go in and you can deal all of that damage all in one go. You can take a shell of damage and then you can deal whatever you need to. Now, you're seeing me, well, I could potentially go for the AMX. I was probably only going to be able to get one of the salvo off, so I mean it's not really worth firing 3 rounds to be able to get 200 damage, so I hold off, and we might need those as the game develops anyway. Now this T49 is going to be the biggest annoyance. If he stays alive for the entirety of the game, he's going to be a nuisance for me. Now we do fire off a full salvo, but we don't actually manage to pen any because, you know, happiness, but we do manage to get a decent amount of assistance straight away, and this is only going to go up as the game develops as well. Now once again, we fired 6 rounds there and only one of them hit. This is where the problem of having this kind of automatically firing gun comes in, and of course literally as we fired, the Iron Rain gets spotted and he pokes over the ridge. No one punishes him, which is kind of disappointing. We haven't got anyone behind me, so yeah, it's a case of starting to think, you know what, I need to do something in this game or it's going to be awful. Now the 57 heavy pokes up, he starts going, and now we really need to get rid of this T49 here. And yes, only 1 shell of damage. I was getting a little bit annoyed with how I was aiming. We were making some mistakes, etc. But at this point, the T49's tried to leave. We can then start going into the center and take this position right here, which is very, very good for being able to kind of dominate the middle game and also spot any of the TDs in their base or any of the TDs camping in the area directly in front of me where that Iron Rain was. So we've only got 1 round left. I do actually decide to go for the Chieftain, which was actually a good idea because we set him on fire. Probably more damage than we could have possibly done with actually trying to hit all of the 3 shells. So got a bit lucky there, but we'll take it, we'll take it. We've not taken a single shot of damage. We've nearly got a fire for effect, and we've also got 1200 assistance damage as well. We've then gone ahead and spotted the 57 heavy, who's for some reason in the middle. We swap to the speed mode, as you can see, gets us up to this top speed as quickly as possible. I'm gonna go in and get as close as possible so we can hit all of these shells, and this is exactly what you're wanting as playing this vehicle. And there you go. This is the assassin playstyle that this 6-shot mini autoloader can actually do. 1200 damage maximum in a full salvo in only 3.5 seconds, so very, very nice indeed. Now the 416 here, he's looking like he's kind of sat back. He's trying to spot for his team, and there could potentially be some guys in the back, and there are people in the back. But what we do here is we go around, use the speed to turn around, just basically keep them spotted and hopefully deal some damage. We go back around, we're trying to get some more damage. I decide to go for the unlikely attempt at trying to hit people, but you know, as unlikely as it is, we only managed to hit 2 out of the 6 shells. Yay, I love it. But the 416 decides he's just chosen me this game, so we try and avoid him. Hopefully we don't take another one, which we do, because of course, and we get a little bit of extra assistance damage and a bit of extra damage in this game from a position where it looked like we were going to lose, because you know, if people are camping in the forest, you can end up finding yourselves in a bit of a disadvantage. Luckily on console they haven't actually made that area overpowered like they have on PC, whereby we would have had the losing spawn on PC, so I guess that's a bonus. We spot the Iron Rain who's camping and get another bit of assistance. So this is what you want to have on your tank, that maximum view range that you possibly can to get as much damage as possible. Now a swap back to this standard mode, we want to be able to hit some shells. We've only got 18 shells left, so we fired 30 and only managed to deal 2000 damage, which equates to what, like 13 shells actually hitting? Yeah, not particularly great. We've literally missed or bounced basically over half of our shells. Fantastic. But you know, hey ho, we've done 4,700 damage combined, which is good. But at this point, you know, the game could quite easily yet again be lost. So I've decided I'm going to try and make my way to try and spot for the team. And we do exactly that. We spot the T49 and we also find this Caliban, who we get a few more shots into. The great thing is that we removed the light tank, which is really, really good. It means they don't have any vision anymore, and it means I can play how I want to play and get some more assistance, hopefully. So what do I do from here? We've got 12 rounds left. So instead of just going in or doing anything like that, because I'm not going to be able to solo like 6 people, so I just stay back and I'm just keeping them lit up, and hopefully our team will just sit there. They have to make a pressure play because they're in the cap circle, and we're just, you know, farming them up here from the side. The T58 heavy, for example, easy damage on him. Yet again, bouncing off because of the standard, well, the penetration is just lackluster on this vehicle, even with the premium rounds. So it is a premium spammer, I'm not gonna lie. If you're firing it with standard rounds, you just won't do very well for the most part. I mean, you can do well, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be able to do exceptionally well. But 5,000 combined, make that over 5,000 combined now, and we decide to get in the cap. I wasn't sure if we could potentially lose, so I definitely didn't want that to happen, but I get bored. I don't like capping in World of Tanks. I find it very boring. But instead, we're going to go for this AVRE, a dangerous mission indeed to go for the AVRE. I hold off because I don't want to get derped, but we do actually go for the shell of damage there, and we finish him off, picking up 4,400 damage, which is nice. But we are now completely out of rounds, so hopefully the team don't throw. So instead, I decide, you know what? It's time to use those hit points. If I take a shell, it's fine. I might get some more assistance damage here, and that's exactly what we're going for. We swap to the turbo mode, which allows us to use the speed since we don't need accuracy anymore. I mean, there's no point. We don't have any actual, we don't have any rounds left. I was thinking about ramming the Bellerophon, but I mean, I would have died, so maybe it would be worth it, but I was hoping we get some assistance on him. Instead, we now go charging towards the T-77, who I genuinely am thinking, oh, I'm just going to YOLO him, ram him. But I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of being able to get any more damage, so I played a little bit passively. It would have made for a better spectacle, but at the same time, it's one of those things. I just didn't want to give free damage away, and so instead, we go for the assistance. That's exactly what we get. Nice little 3,200 assists with 4,400 damage done as well. And that picks up over 2,000 base experience, having a fantastic game in the Fraternite Shah Emily 75. But we did lose 151,000 silver. Not good at all, but that's the price to play when you're playing in this tank, since it doesn't get a premium bonus, and even if you have a ridiculous game, you're not getting any additional silver. But, you know, that's the small gun or the autoloader, so let's have a look at the traditional autoloading version of this vehicle. So we've jumped straight in with the 6-round autoloader. We're going to see how this one plays in a fairly straightforward battle on canals, and this map allows for a little bit of what this tank is all about, you know, kind of surprising opponents, mobilizing around the map, using different positions. It's all about this vehicle and what it's good for. Now, we do swap to the turbo mode. I'm testing it out. This was the first game I've ever played in this vehicle, so we just wanted to see how it was actually performing with the turbo mode. Almost decided to flip because, you know, yes, that was fantastic. I wonder why driving up a rock would be a bad idea. But at this point, this is a great position to get early damage and also spot opponents. We lock down the tracks of the Concept 1B. He then swings his turret, because of course he does, and he stays up there. We lock him down again, and hopefully someone will hit him for some assistance. But yeah, not a great trade to start with, not a great exchange at all, but maybe we can actually outspot this guy. We are out of his view range. There's no way he's going to be able to spot us unless I fire. And we do fire, but we are well in the way of actually avoiding his shells. But you can see there we are on 1 round, so we do take a full reload, 26 seconds now, and then we'll be up for dealing another 1,500 damage if we can fire all of them. Now, here's the other tier 9 premium light tank that was released recently, which is the Teeth Breaker on the enemy team. Maybe we can take him out, show him what the real light tanks are all about. But Concept 1B is going hold down, which is what that tank should be able to do. But nice little first round, bit lucky there. Oh, nice little second round in. Oh, bounce that one, as you probably should. Oh, can we get the shot onto the top of him? Oh, we do, but we bounce. Not looking too good. Maybe we can get another one later on. But still, penning the cupola of the Concept is pretty nice. And you can see the accuracy actually not being all too bad with the 6-round autoloader, since you do get that time in between your shells to be able to deal that damage. Now, I push up over here. There's a Tiger 2 who's sat out in the open. I'm hoping we'll be able to get some damage. We spot the SU-130 who backs it up. Put one into the lower plate of the Tiger 2, which is, I mean, it's nice, but it's kind of one of those things where I wanted to get another one off, but it's not worth taking a shell. Maybe it would have been but at the same time we don't have the most amazing intricate reload where you can get loads of shells off and feel like you've really punished them. So it's just a case of seeing what happens in this game. I decide to poke over here. We didn't get spotted since we're out of the SU-130PM's kind of view range capability. This tank has brilliant camo, so it's easy to poke opponents like that and not get spotted. So instead I decide it's time to go back where we were and see if there's anything else over this side, since we're kind of locked down by that Tiger 2, so I didn't want to do anything brash or make any silly decisions. So we decide to come back over here. Maybe we can spot someone. Maybe the AE, the Concept 1B is still alive. I wasn't sure at this point, but instead of just going around that corner, I go out of the view range of this medium tank, so if he does come around the corner he won't be able to spot me. So this is something you should be doing in all of your tanks if possible, and you can see me coming back to this position. I wasn't sure if he was going to make a push, so we're just setting up camp here for a second. I decide, you know what, we'd be outspotting him if he was making a push, so I'm going to go over this side and maybe help out this tank destroyer, whoever it is, with any tanks that might be coming towards them. And also have the opportunity to maybe get in some free shots on people that are going to be in the middle, if they do get indeed spotted by myself, and hopefully they will. So we push over here. We don't seem to find anyone. I was hoping I'd outspot the Barask who was in the middle, but apparently not. So instead we push. It's time to go over to the tank destroyer. Maybe we'll find someone, and then of course the Barask gets spotted in a place that we can't hit him. Now we could have hit him maybe, potentially, but I didn't want to waste a shell. We want all of that damage for if we do manage to get around some of these tank destroyers that are over in their base, or find someone else that we can deal all of our clip to. So fingers crossed we'll find that. Waffle Panzer 4 is over here. Ooh, we find a Panzer 58 Mutz, which is perfect because we can actually out-trade this guy quite easily. I'm pulling back around that hill. We hit him there, but of course he hits us back, which is a little bit disappointing, but nonetheless, still got a bit of damage. I take a full reload. We're going to move behind this hill. I'm worried that the Barask is going to be coming swooping in with his nice little bit of speed, so I poke this ridge, see if he actually comes in. We just do it real quick. No one seems to be there. We would outspot him if he was, and instead we pull back over this side and then see if they are coming around from the center of the map to try and find us from behind and then deal with us that way. So always trying to find a way to come out of a situation, so that's exactly what we do here. And yeah, trying to just make a play, see if we can find anyone and deal some more damage for free. Now, no one seems to be over here, which is surprising. I'm assuming that what's happened now is A, they've either gone to deal with the people in the town who have pushed through, or B, they're trying to retreat back to the rest of their team, which appeared to be on the hill area of this map. Now the tank destroyer on our team is now about to get YOLO'd by, of course, the tank destroyer on their team, the TL7 Black. So the Waffles having to deal with him, but it's not going to go out very well with him. We do indeed spot the SU-130PM and the Barask, so everyone on their team is over on this side. I try and go for a speculative shot there, probably not what you should do in this vehicle. The Barask is trying to then cross, so we just pre-aim it. We know he's going to be coming, and free shot of damage in there. And talk about free damage. Hello there, SU-130. So a little bit of damage on him as well. But you can see that although this tank is good with the 6 round, it doesn't feel like you have as much of an impact, and it's certainly not as fun as when you have those real bursty amounts of damage that you can do with this tank. So the TL7 is over here, Randy Squirrel. Interesting name, but maybe we can get another shell into him. Maybe we can come from behind. We've got 2 seconds left. Can we get another one? Yes, we can. Can we get another one? Glitch with the autoloader. We don't manage to. And he ends up getting rammed by the TL7 Black, which ends up finishing him off. So yeah, nice there, but we come 3rd on the team with 3,000 damage. So yeah, a little bit harder to carry with the 6-round autoloader. It feels a little bit lackluster, even if it does have more damage per minute, but it certainly can be good. And on a more open map, something like Westfield, this tank is going to be very, very powerful, especially if you play it as more of a hidden tank. This is the less expensive version of the tank to play, since you do have the autoloader. You can aim fully. You don't get problems with using the fast firing small gun that essentially misses a lot, and you're still spending the same amount of silver on every round with that top one. So yeah, overall a very fun tank, and certainly a good one. It is definitely a nice light tank addition. It's not overpowered, trust me, but it's definitely a good one, and I think it's a good addition. So Wargaming have done really well with this one for once. So yeah, let me know what you think of the Shah Emily 75, and of course the skinned version, the Fratonite here. Yeah, let me know in the comment section down below. Tell me what you want to see next in the videos, and I will get on it as soon as possible, and we'll be producing more videos coming this week. And don't forget, you can have a look at this one on screen right now, which looks at the most overpowered PC tank, debatably, and how it isn't quite that on console. Let me know what you think of that one, and hopefully you join me in the next one. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, and I'll see you there. Goodbye.